Please give me a second. Okay. We are live on Facebook, on YouTube. Yes. So, Coach Abby, please do introduce yourself a little bit for us as we wait for the other speakers to join in. God bless you.
Thank you again for the opportunity tonight to yourself and your wonderful husband for this part 2 of this amazing series we started. The first one was very good. Myself, my name is Coach Abeji. I'm a Christian relationship and sex solution coach based in London, England here. Been doing coaching for more than 3 decades. And we bless God for his grace and blessings. So yeah, I'm a Christian relationship coach, and God has blessed us and increased us in terms of that way. Well, and thank you for conversations like this, particularly in the month of February, which we've been brought to space like this to help and enhance and help a lot of the young people around the world and married and singles around the world. And I know tonight tonight will even be much more. It's like they say, from one level of glory to another level of glory. And it's wonderful being in the presence of Pastor Williams and his wonderful wife as well. Big shout out to you. First time was great, and I know tonight would be even be greater and blessing. And we bless God. And also tonight as well. Last time I was at work in between things, and thank God I am at home today. It's my day off today.
Amazing.
And, wow. It all works out well.
Yes.
Yes. It does, thank you very much.
It does very well, very well. Thank you so much, Coach Avi. He's an amazing man of God, doing this work. God bless you so much for introducing yourself. Lady Henrietta and Pastor William, I believe they are getting ready to come on. So we will go on with the conversation
already
because tonight.
On.
Yeah, hello.
We are here.
Okay. Please introduce yourself quickly for us, then we start.
Ladies first.
Hello.
Lady Henrietta, I don't see you. Is your camera off?
My camera is on.
Yeah,
I
camera
see you
is
now.
on. Yeah.
Okay, I see you. Yeah.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm Lady Henrietta, just like one of God, Ruthie calls me. I am in the US. I am a mentor, a business owner. God, my ministry is in a marketplace, so everywhere God calls me, I am there. It is a privilege to be here once more. God bless you, woman of God, for inviting me, and I look forward to sharing more knowledge. I learned a lot the last time. I look forward to taking some more in our session today. Thank you.
Thank you so much for introducing yourself. So let's then we have Pastor William, please, sir.
Hey, hello everyone. Yeah, thank you, Minister Ruthie, for the invitation. We were here last week, or I think it's the last week or last 2 weeks. Yeah, and we're back here again. Hey, to those who are not on the line, I'm Pastor William Asari Bediakon, based in US, the resident pastor of Mount Zion Praise Church. I'll make it short for you guys. Thank you. Did you all hear me?
Okay, so please, I want to ask you just a quick question. The baby is, give me a second. So I want to ask you, thank you all for introducing yourself and thank you all for joining. Please keep sharing the link. Tonight, we're going to be quick so that we can ask questions as well. We have just less than an hour. I want to ask a quick question. Last week, we spoke about identity. We spoke about communication. Pastor William gave 3 nuggets to be able to build your relationship. I think you should repeat that today as well. And Coach Abby also spoke about, that we shouldn't think our partners, have to know our mind. Lady Henrietta spoke about identity, which was very powerful, and we elaborated it, and it was very powerful. Happy belated birthday, Pastor William. I know last week Friday was your birthday. God bless you. Please, I will throw a question to you all, and all of you can respond. What are some daily habits that strengthen a romantic relationship? What are some daily habits from the personal growth in love? What are some daily habits? I will go with Coach Abby. Thank you.
What are the daily habits? One of the daily habits in relationships that is communication. Communicate. Let me use this word as they say. Communicate, communicate, communicate. Just like some people say, education, education, education. You can't stop communicating in a relationship. Communication is the bedrock of any relationship. So communication, talk, and more talk, and more talk. And that's how relationship is established. And, you know, like we said if you haven't watched the last period, I think you need to go to the YouTube channel and watch the part 1. As we said in the last period, talk about everything. Talk daily, talk weekly, create time to schedule to talk. Just like God wants us to talk with him every day. The same thing in your relationship. Talk every day. Be intentional in your relationship. Make conversation. So it's about talking, understanding, communicating all the time. And that's how that's the bedrock of any relationship.
Thank you very much, Coach Abby. Conversation, very important. Let's move to Lady Henrietta. Yes, please.
Yes, just to piggyback off what Coach Abby said, to me, I would say transparency and communication. This is something that is a learning progress, even for myself. There are times based on your background and, you know, I would say based on your background, how you communicate a lot of the time, that's what we bring into any level of relationships. Actually, if you see how people operate, whether in businesses and friendship, you can kind of tell how they were raised when it comes to communication. And transparency is one of them. So if you were not really raised to learn how to be transparent in your communication, and when I mean transparency is that if you really mean to say, I want an apple, don't say, I think an apple would be nice. They're the same statement shaped differently and mean different things, right? So just be clear. Yes, maybe that's what I should say. Be clear with your communication, and also be clear with your intention. That's why I use transparency. If it's a very difficult thing to do, because I think naturally as human beings, we have a difficult time trusting people. So sometimes we'll say one thing halfway in hopes that we don't give out all, which causes a lot of the issues. So clear communication and transparency. Say what you mean and mean what you say. I think if you can practice that daily, just like what Coach Abby said, it's interesting that he said that you should schedule, in America we say schedule talking times. I was never taught that. We were never taught that. I felt, if I'm ready now, let's talk. But I agree with him. But when you do it, come prepared, come ready, be intentional and being clear and concise. So transparency, I would say, practicing that every day will really set your relationship up for success.
Thank you so much, Lady Henrietta, for that. Transparency, clear communication. You have to be clear on how you communicate. Pastor William, please, I leave it to you. And Pastor Sheku is there, so honey, please. Oh, he's here. Hello, sir. Pastor William, please go ahead. Thank you.
Pastor Sheku, how are you doing today?
Nice to sir. Good evening, everybody.
Evening. Nice to meet you.
Sir.
Good evening. Good evening. I've been online, but I'm just coming in. Please continue. Don't let me distract you.
God bless you for the amazing job you're doing. So, Coach Abe mentioned communication, and my wife also talked about transparency, clarity, and I want to add active listening, all in line with communication and transparency. One frustrating thing I've seen over the years, and when people come to me for counseling, is oh, I talk all the time to my husband, I talk all the time to my wife, but he doesn't listen or she doesn't listen. So you can be talking, but is the person actively listening to what you are saying? Sometimes you think you are talking for 30 minutes, and at the end of the day, or for 10 minutes, you ask the person, honey, can you repeat what I just said? Or what did I say? The person is not able to listen, and it becomes frustrating. So one thing that I think, and I know we should have as people or individuals in a relationship, be it marriage or dating or being knowing each other, or even as individuals or friends, is to actively listen to our partners when they are talking. And when I say actively listening, being intentional about it, be
Yes, sir.
intentional. Yeah, be intentional about it and listen. I mean, if it is 1 hour that you guys are listening to each other or communicating to each other, you can do away with the phone for the next 1 hour, or you can do away with the book that you are actively reading for the next 1 hour, for the 30 minutes. It doesn't hurt to do it. And I think that will go a long way to shape our romantic life.
Amazing. I think active listening is very important, guys. Baby is here, so please bear with me. Active listening is very important. I think Papa Titi Ofe was talking last time, and he said he came to understand his wife. So when now they are having a communication, he will just keep quiet and allow her to speak and to flow. There is a difference of communicating or listening and paying attention to what the person is saying. Because if you are someone that you can't, whatever it is, active listening is very important. Pay attention to what the person is saying. Thank you very much, sir. The next question to Pastor Sheku, you have something to say for now? No, he's I should flow with the next question. Okay, next question then. Okay. To the people that are single, I will ask you, guess, how much of love is about chemistry and how much is about compatibility? Compatibility, or let me ask, how can someone know that? Some people will say, how can I know if we are compatible? Lady Henrietta, I will start with you.
Wow, you put me on the spot this one.
I know it's like being in the courtroom, isn't it?
No, yeah, seriously. Because other than God telling me, I don't think there's any way. But I'll use this analogy that the Holy Spirit just dropped. He said that life is 10%. There was a statistic, I can't remember. So if the numbers are off, please feel free to research. It says life is 10% what happens to you, 90% how you react to what happens to you. And I want to use that same analogy when it comes to compatibility, because you need to be aware. First of all, you need to have self-awareness of where you are at the stage you are in life. I recently spoke to someone and they were asking me for advice on a certain decision. And then they said, what do you think? I said, well, in the current situation that I am, this is what I'm going to go for. And that is the same thing with compatibility, and why I believe in allowing time to really determine if the partner is a good fit. Because remember that it's a journey that you are on. You are not, the destination is heaven. I mean, let's be honest, the destination is heaven, but you don't know what's going to happen along the journey. So it is important that at least the foundational things you guys are compatible with. And so when it comes to finding out compatibility, I would say it takes time, right? Because you need to allow things to happen and see how each party react to it, and you basically determine if that is a good fit for you or the person. So it's very important. I feel like we don't talk enough about that, because there's a lot of, oh, nobody is perfect. You're right, nobody is perfect. But I mean, if I'm giving 5 people as potentials and I see that one of them is 10% versus 20%, am I going to say, because we are all not perfect, so anyone works? Obviously, no. They have to align with my ministry, align with my thoughts. And yes, there are some people, they don't even know who they are. We had that conversation already. But just give it time, because you have to be self-aware of your capabilities, potential, like your core values. Some people, when you ask them what the core values are, they don't even know. Once you weed those out, then you'll be able to engage in meaningful conversation to really understand if this person is compatible to you. So again, I'll use that analogy again, which is life is 10% what happens to you and 90% how you react to what happens to you. So as you conversate and things happen, see their reaction. Is that something that you want? That same thing will come back in different form, different shapes, different avenue. But if how they reacted the first time is not in line with where you guys are going, I think it's a good way of you determining whether you can make this journey together or not. God bless you.
Sorry, thank you very much, Lady Henrietta. Coach Abby, Lisa.
Okay, thank you very much, Lady Henrietta. Set the ball rolling. You know, when you think about it, Bible tells us, except in Amos 3:3 says, except two agree, they cannot work together in harmony. And, you know, when you, like the word you use there, understanding love and compatibility, the way I would put it is like, it's like making a cocktail. And while you're making a cocktail, there is the chemistry is the alcohol, the fun bit, the exciting bit, while the other part of it is the compatibility side, which is the mixer, which is based on values and goals, and that's what Bible tells us about. Except two agrees. So it's like you know, anything you make, food, stew, there are so many compartments to it. There's so many things that makes it to unity. But this week, as I was asking the Lord on what He wants me to say tonight as well, one of the things that we often ignore, particularly when it comes to relationship, is the mindset of the person we're going into relationship with. The mindset of the person we're going into relationship with. I think I mentioned this slightly last time when in part one, where I mentioned about the mindset. That's why it says except two agrees, which means they're in unity. So when you're mixing things together, there has to be in the right amount, in the right quantity. The same thing when you're making cake, you measure it sometimes. It has to be in the right amount, in the right measurement. But in today's age, a lot of us go into relationships without agreeing. We agree to their body. We agree to their look. They look good. They talk well. We pick people by their looks, by what they have. But we, like we said in the beginning we don't even engage in conversations. We don't even start with understanding who this person is, their past, what they are dealing with. Would we be able to agree? Would we be able to mix together? It's the same thing like when you go to a job, they interview you. They're trying to know where you're coming from. Have you got the requirement to carry on this, you know, that job or what you want to, whatever they want you to do? And the same thing as well when it comes to relationship. A lot of times, a lot of us don't engage. We don't, and like Pastor William said as well, listening, the active listening. We just think we know about relationship and we just go into it. We don't take time to understand where that person is, to understand where they're going, to understand are we on the same mindset? And that's what Bible says, agree. So if we're not on the same mindset, if we're not agreeing in things that we are going into, forget about compatibility, forget about another big word. Like I said, I'll drop three big words now, which I always say is very important when you talk about love, compatibility, relationship. The first one is communications. That word is very, very important. Communications. Are we thinking the same way? The second word is commitment. Whatsoever happens on this journey, are you committed? Are you committed in that journey? And then are you coming from the same place? What I mean by coming from the same place, your belief system. You know, do they believe in God? Do they, you know, do they share the same value with you? Do they share the same thing with you? Before we talk about chemistry and the other things, once this first three is sorted, your commitment to God, your commitment to one another, and also to be able to communicate so that you guys know that you are one.
Powerful commitment to one another, commitment to God, and communication. I think it's very important because I think when people start relationship, so if you are single now or you have been divorced before, you want to enter into another relationship, this is very important so that you don't make the same mistake. Now, before you go into, don't be hypnotized, let me say, use that word, by the chemistry and by the butterflies that are in your belly. Let the hypnotization fall and open your eyes and go and learn about the person, understand who they, because people forget themselves. They don't do the background. They think about the chemistry, the butterflies, and they forget to ask questions. And then you go in and you're like, what am I in? Who is this person? I don't know the person. You understand? So very important. Talk, ask, and know the person's background, know who they are. If you can be compatible, work together or not. God bless you, Coach Abby. Now, Pastor William, please do go ahead.
Yeah, Lady Hetty and Coach Abby and yourself summarize everything, but I just want to say something. When you asked the question, I wrote something down, and I just want to say it out loud and explain a bit. So, when we're talking about chemistry in relationship, it's more about the spark, the initial intent, like the immediate attraction that really draws you closer to a person. That is it. And when you look at talking about spark attraction, we're talking about the biology aspect and we're talking about the psychological aspect. And the biology aspect has to do with hormones. The hormonal being that attracts you to one person, the psychological aspect that deals with your past experiences, with your present experiences, and what you are seeing. So that is that aspect. And when you come to the compatibility aspect, we're talking about the functions of the relationship, right? We're talking about the shared values and the lifestyle. Okay. And one thing that I dropped in my spirit is that though you need chemistry to initiate something, to spark something, it doesn't sustain the relationship. What really sustains the relationship is the compatibility. That is the functions of you and the person, what you share together, what you can do together. Like Coach Abby said and Lady Hetty said, that knowing each other, understanding each other. So I see it as it is a drive between both chemistry and compatibility, but you need more to understand yourself and know how to relate to each other and know how to balance each other. Because trust me, if you are not attracted to anybody, it's very difficult to even be compatible with a person, even though you will. But it's very difficult. It's like having something plain, like it's really nothing. It has to have a spark to it. But you cannot also only depend on the spark, because when that phase is done, what happens? What is next? That is when the reality sets in. So we need both to operate in a relationship.
We need chemistry, and the other one is what? Sorry, compatibility.
Yeah.
To make the relationship work. So the
Yeah.
chemistry is still important, but be careful on how you switch, like it is done, right? That's what Pastor William is saying. Thank you very much. Pastor Sheku is getting ready, so let's move on. I want to ask for the married people. You are married for, I mean, 2 years is too early. 5 years going, from 5 years going, I think that is when the reality starts to kick in. In the beginning, it's like, you know what I mean? That's right. So Now the marriage is a bit dry. What would you advise married couples to do to activate chemistry again? Pastor William and Lady Henrietta, what do you guys do? And Coach Abby, what can they do to activate the chemistry and start afresh again and let this, the chemistry flow? That's right. Thank you.
Go on a date, be intentional about it.
Oh, okay. Lady Henrietta.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, Pastor William, go. You are just going already. Yes,
Yeah,
go ahead.
go on a go on a date. Be intentional about it. Be intentional about it. And sometimes one thing I've realized in most marriages is we have what we call the comfortable stage. I have arrived. Once I'm married for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, I think, what again? But be intentional about it. Go on the date. Know what your wife needs. Surprise her with gifts.
Okay. That's right.
There is something I learned in psychology, right? And there is a membrane in woman's part of the brain, right? And the more you give her a gift, it activates it.
It will.
It activates it. Yeah. So the more you shower her gift, and it's not about expensive or things, but be intentional about what you are doing. Know what she needs and like, and surprise her with those gifts. Go on a date, and also take care of yourself as a person. Dress nice in the house. Look nice. Don't dress shabby because you are married for 5 years. Look nice so that when she sees you, say, "Oh, wow, I'm seeing a different shade of my husband." Yes. So married couples, bear in mind that the fact that you are married and living in the house with your wife. For example, I work from home. My wife works from home. So just imagine you are there for how many years? 10 years. We had a 10-year anniversary last year.
Congratulations.
And this year will be, thank you. This year will be our 11th year. But just imagine you've been working home for the past 6, 7 years. Every time you are stuck with her. So if you don't do things to spark up something, it ends up drying.
It ends up drying. That's right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Pastor William. So shower your wives with gifts, shower your husband, with gifts, but more the men to the women, because women will love gifts. I mean, last time we spoke about love language anyway. So you learn what your partner's love language, but I believe that every woman like gifts anyway, no matter what the love language is. Okay. Thank you very much. Coach Abby, please do come in, sir.
Thank you very much. Just building on from Pastor Williams there as well. Like you said, like I said again, it's communicate, because men or women don't read. You can't read them. They're not a book. So we need to vocalize what we want in our relationship. Just like what you said about love languages. Understand the person's love language so that you can minister to them. I will also mention something that is killing a lot of marriages and a lot of relationships today. Although it looks good, but also it's killing a lot of relationships. That is, switch off your phone. Oftentimes, you're with someone, and a lot of ladies come to my sessions and they say to me, the man is not present. You can be at home. Today now everybody's on the iPad, on the phone or something. Switch off your phone. Be present. Being present, you can be present in the house, but the lady might feel you're not present because you're on your phone or you're watching the TV. You might say, most men will say, but I am at home. But you're not. Switch off everything. Focus on that person. Like they say, we will say, look into their eyeball. Say the love language. Say you love them. Not you being on the phone and they say, yeah, I love you, but your attention is somewhere else. So, switch off your phone, be intentional about it, go on walks together, do the things you guys used to do when you were dating, you know. Oftentimes when after marriage, everybody switch off and then it becomes a marriage mode. Don't do the marriage mode. Do the courtship, the dating, hunt after the ladies as well, dress well. You know, don't become mama at home. don't don't look like his grandmother at home. The man also look good, you know, take each other out on dates to your favorite places, you know, and then talk, communicate. Like I said, as the year goes by, your interest, your things changes. What you like changes. So don't be boring. So that's why I said continue to communicate, and then in that way, your relationship will blossom.
Thank you very much, Coach Abby. Communication very important. He said, ladies, don't look like a grandma at home. Spice up. Hey, spice up. Okay. And the men to look cute, but the ladies look very spicy. That's right. Okay. Thank you very much, Coach Abby. Lady Henrietta,
Yeah.
go ahead, please.
A lot of good information has been shared. I would say from a woman perspective, usually the 5 years when we start to have children and things like that. And so there's a lot of change happening. We're really stressed. We are carrying multiple hats. And sometimes by the time we're laying on our bed, we are literally just laying on our bed and sleeping. I would say, to be transparent, we also went through that phase, but what really helped is the communication, like what she said. Uh, some things I had to learn. My husband loves children, and if I need him to do something with the kids, he will step up and do it. This is part of the conversations we had very earlier on in our lives. I was transparent, told him, you know, I am a CEO type of woman. I'm doing my best. I would love for you to fill in the gaps here. But in that first 5 years, I also wanted to look good, be your wife, be, you know, you name it. I did it. So this is not like coming from a place of I'm talking out of talking. So I've been there. So that transition to, you know what, I actually need help. One kid was okay. Now the second one came in. Now the third one came in. And so he complemented areas where he could really tell that I was very stressed. And slowly but surely, we got back into our groove. We realized that, yes, we need to go out more on dates and so forth. How to rekindle things is if you did it, I would say if you did it right the first time, you should be able to think about your friend. The reason why I love Jesus Christ so much is that he was a friend to all. Like he wasn't mean, he wasn't anything, like he will lend help. And so if you really focus on the friendship at the very beginning stages of your relationship, when you are in a season where the love has run dry, that will sustain you. So that I talk to him as my friend. And so just like how I will speak to my girlfriends about, hey, I'm feeling insecure about my body. I'm feeling this. I mean, there were seasons where he would say, you know what? I've booked massages. Let's go and do like couples massage, right? That's without me telling him. He's realized that I am very tense and I need help. But instead of saying, hey, you are tense, you need help, it's like, let's do it together. You know, we'll talk, we'll you know, share our ambitions, share dreams. So at that point, it's not really love, it's the friendship. It's that is how I'm seeing him, right? And there are also seasons where I would say, you know, I feel a bit insecure about my body. What do you think? Should I go here? Should I do? You know, he will reassure me. You know, it's okay. Yes, you're right. You've had 3 children. I understand how you feel. Do you think it's time for me to go seek help? At that point, again, it's not love, it's friendship, right? Which is love, but it's on a different level. And so that sustains it because I'm reminded that this is how we started. You know, we started from the bottom. I'm here. Now we're here. No. This is how we started. And I think a lot of the times, the reason why relationship go through that, like it plateaus, is because number one, you no longer see your spouse as a friend. A lot of them lose respect because what you were supposed to communicate as your needs, you're no longer communicating, and you are comparing yourself to other people's relationship. Like, look at what that man is doing. You know, my husband's not doing that. Forgetting that you have not communicated what your needs are. So, how to come out of it is being, you know, transparent with yourself, communication. I feel like today's theme is communication, because without telling your partner what is really going on, how are you going to get yourself out of it? And, it's difficult, but that's what really worked for us. So just to, to be clear with everybody, anything from there are times when I went to get my hair done and I told the person who does my hair what my husband has said he's seen. I came back and told him now he helps me wash days. Like I involve him in my life. And so he is more than just a husband to me. He's more than just a husband. He's also a friend. I can confide in him. We laugh. Of course, when I'm angry, please be honest. But then I'm able to come back because I when I look at Jesus Christ and how he's my friend, I see my husband as that. And so I would say try to remember the spark, okay, that made you attracted to him in the first place. And that would really help.
Amazing. That's so powerful. I think you've said few things. And I think one thing that I've picked up is, and I want people to pick up as well, is the viewers, is communicate. It's all about the communication, but letting your partner, your husband, or your wife know how you feel than waiting for them to see how you feel. Because if not, you'll be saying, but you don't know that I'm going through this. No, you tell them, involve them, like involving Pastor William to help you wash your hair. Okay, Pastor William will say, okay, you are tired. And also communication, like, okay, let's go and do the massage together. And as you said, first kid, second kid, now third kid, I'm on my third kid. It's not easy. Like this one's sleeping pattern is different. My head is hot. My back is hurting me because she will wake up at 12 till 5 a.m. in the morning, like that. Like I am on like that, and I will do church stuff as well. So this way you communicate with your husband, I'm tired, I need massage. Okay, help me do this. So that waiting for him to understand, he knows how I feel, but I think the way you are saying it, communication is very, very important. Don't assume that somebody would know. So thank you very much for that. Yes. Pastor Sheku? You have anything to say?
I think they said it all.
Continue. Okay. He's supporting, but Sheko is always like that. Okay. Sorry, I was talking with a thing of, but next time you speak though. Thank you, sir. The next question is, do you believe in for the singles, do you believe in long distance relationship? Coach Abby.
Yes.
What is your perspective on long distance relationship? That's right.
In January ending, I did a series on it. It's on YouTube. You just Google it. But what I said in a nutshell is long distance relationship can work, but it requires a lot of work. It requires a lot of work into it to make it work. You have to really put in a lot of work into it. And but a lot of people, unfortunately, are not willing to put in a lot of work into it. And then they're still expecting the same result. Long distance relationship can be, it's very challenging, and it offers a different way to make it work. And particularly, you have to make communication, you have to make technology your friends. So things like scheduling, like what said, very similar to what we were saying earlier. You schedule video calls, you guys share playlists, write letters. It's like you guys are physically together, but now technology has now made it kind of easy for you guys to make it. But oftentimes, a lot of people are not willing to put in the work. And oftentimes, like I said, except two agrees, oftentimes people are not asking the question they should be asking. So normally I say to people, try to involve relationship coach. Very similar. A lot of people treat long distance relationship as like, I don't have to put much importance to it, just like you seeing that person physically. But like what I always say to people, you need to even double up more and putting more effort into it, because most times if you don't put a lot of effort to it, and statistics says most of those long distance relationships, if you look out of them, at least 95% of them are a scam in most times. So you have the 5% that can work, but also you have to put a lot of work into it. While I say it can be scam, is a lot of people don't know who they're dealing with. Number two is most times those relationships are in levels. What I mean by that is most times it's either somebody wanting somebody who is more on an advantage place to be helping them out. So it's not on level playing field. And that's why I said it can, and a lot of people don't want to put in that work and verification, check out that person, do your background check, put a lot of, it requires a lot of work. It can work, but you need to be intentional about it.
Thank you, Coach Abby. You have to be very intentional about it, because it's a lot of it is a scam. So you need to be very intentional and be careful. Pastor William, Lady Henrietta, please, something quick about it you can share. Yeah.
I like to jump in on this one because it's something that happened to us. But like I said, because we spoke, we all knew where we were going. So when I met my husband, I said, I'm moving here, whether you like it or not. You let me know if you're in alignment. And he said, okay. And God worked it out in a way that he ended up going to that place before me, before we even got married. So we had arranged the time that we're going to get married with the church, but he was moving for his PhD. So he had received the offer and everything, the scholarship to go, and he had gone ahead. So overall, I think we had about 6 months that we were kind of sort of apart. But before that happened, we did have a conversation, because we knew that after his master's, he was going to go to school. And at that time, we had not spoken about marriage. Both of us agreed. I mean, Pastor Will was plain. He said, long distance relationship doesn't work for me. I said, okay, thank you for letting me know. I also had a previous long distance relationship that didn't work as well. And so we level set it. That's like we've level set even before marriage. So we already know where we are going with that. And then after we got married, right before I graduated from college, the place where I was working, they had an opportunity to give me for me to continue my studies with both PhD and master's in a span of 5 years on a scholarship, because they really liked where I worked. It was a prime opportunity, and I was going to take it. And I'm pretty sure that this was God, because I've never spoken to the man before, and he said, "You just married. This is the time that your husband needs you." He said it out of nowhere. Like I said, my boss, we never spoke about being believers. We never talk about God. So I want to believe that God has spoken at that time to remind me of the conversation that I had with my husband. And then it was a prime opportunity, because right there, I was going to get the money. I was going to come out with master's and PhD, but God knew what he was doing. And so I want to say that it is important to involve God in this kind of matters, because even in that span of 6 months, my husband has stories. One of them, I was going to visit him. I missed my flight. I cried like a baby. Like I was at the airport crying. There was a stranger that came and said, "Ma'am, are you okay? Did something happen to you?" That's how bad I was crying. I don't know why. I don't know what happens. Nothing new to me, right? But I want to believe that for us and where God was taking, again, at that time, I wasn't aware about my ministry. There were a lot of things I wasn't aware of. But because it's something we had discussed, we had counseling, we had mentors. It's like he kind of coined it and said, "This is where you need to be." God being so good, the minute we touched that land, our life picked up, ministry, everything has picked up. And so that's how God would do. So the only other thing I want to touch on top of what Coach Abby said is that involve God. That is number one. That is prime. I travel. Even for work, I already travel. I think in the span of 13 years that we've been together, the most we've been apart is 6 weeks. If it's not God, then I don't know. But in that 6 weeks, we talk. You have to talk, text messages. I mean, like technology basically became like without it, we can't do anything, right? And so, apart from knowing each other and being intentional, I think the God element is very essential, because without that, nothing will work. Just like what Coach Abby said, a lot of people think relationships are scam. Almost every other person is thinking this is not going to work out, or every other person is like, well, you went through this, oh, that's fine, that's normal, it's in the relationship. God didn't design it that way, but it is important that he gives you the green light for it. That's all I wanted to share.
Amazing. God will give you the green light for it. Just involve him and ask him for knowledge and wisdom. Thank you so much, Lady Henrietta. Pastor William?
Yeah. Let me add something to it, and I know Coach Abby and Lady Hetty has said a lot. But let me share my perspectives, right? So initially, let's say 5-6 years ago, I had just one perspective about long distance relationship, and I said it's not going to work. And let me back it with examples. Okay, so I remember when I was doing my master's, right? I have students who will come in. I wouldn't mention names, but it's real stories. They will come in, and I'm somebody who talks. I love to talk. I love to share ideas and experience together. And I like to use experiences that I've had to help shape people, right? So I speak to them. The first year, master student, okay, I have a girlfriend at home. Okay, one will also talk, I have a girlfriend at home. So then I ask, okay, you are here studying. Okay, how long are you going to be in this country? Then they will say, okay, I don't think I'm going back to the country, but maybe I'll just go back once a while and come back. Okay, then I ask, what are your main intention for the girl that you are with? Okay, I would want to marry her, but I'm now coming to start life. I'm now coming to do this. I don't know. I'm like, okay, you know what? Number one, you are not financially stable. So you don't want to carry someone's burden on your shoulders. Because, of course, like Coach Abe said, it's not a level playing ground. The moment the person knows you are in US or you are traveled, all her expenditure, quote unquote, is on you. Sorry to say that. Even not all, there is a level of expectation on you. Okay, so what happens is that these guys will spend so much on the ladies, and at the end of the day, the ladies get married or get pregnant. I know of a guy who I personally told him that, I'm a prophet as well. I said, this girl is not going to help you. It won't work. He didn't listen. He was spending so much, and guess what? 2-3 years, the girl was pregnant. Yep. And the girl called the guy that I'm pregnant, so moved on. There's another story that the girl called the guy and said, hey, you know what? I know you've traveled. We are at different places. If you get a girl that you want to date, go with a girl. But just know that you can do your things. I'm still here with you. When the guy told me that story, I said, there's a red flag, guy. There is another story, right? So many stories. The guy literally took the girl to school and did everything for her while he was struggling here, right? And 3-4 years down the lane, the girl was getting married, and the guy didn't even know. It was the family of the guy that said, hey, the girl is married. And that guy was getting ready to come and pick up the girl from Ghana to US. So that goes back to the scam that Coach Abe was saying. Okay, so I had all these experiences and I said, it really doesn't work. Okay, so as I kept studying and kept learning and using our own life as an experience, I've also come to understand another perspective, that it requires effort, it requires work. If you really want it to work as a long distance person, a long distance relationship, you need to put in work, communication. You need to have a timeline, define your timeline. Okay, I'm going out. 1 year or 2 years, what time am I going to come back? What time are we going to meet? Is it after 2 years or after 3 years? Okay, so you have to have that clarity that after 2 years, we are going to meet together. After 6 months, we are going to meet together. Your partner, your wife, you're traveling to Africa. I love to go to Africa, Ghana, precisely. Okay, and if I go, I know that, okay, within 6 weeks, I'm coming back. But within that 6 weeks, we communicating, video calls and those things. And one last thing I want to say, which sometimes people don't notice, is that you've got to be independent as a person, whether you are married or you are not, in a relationship. If you are independent and you have something going on in your life and you are busy with your life, you don't get bored. And you don't put everything on the guy or on the lady. That if you don't hear from her or you don't hear from you, that's the end of your life. So if you have a busy life, at least it keeps you active. And when you have just 1 minute to talk, you make it meaningful. That's it.
Thank you so much, Pastor William. The scamming thing is
Let's
serious.
calm.
Yes.
They will scam you.
They will
Some.
scam you.
Some will scam you. Some will scam you. But
yeah.
some will not. Yeah,
Some will.
but that's why you have to be clear. You have to clarify.
That's right.
What you guys want. What is
That's
the
right.
intention?
That's right. That's right. Because I know I know a story. Time is past when Pastor Sheku will speak. I asked Pastor Sheku. He's also Pastor William anyway, but Pastor Sheku, I asked him, will you say something about long distance relationship? We said it is long. So it's a long one. So I think I know a lady that very close to me. Lady Wendy, thank you for joining. She met this guy that came from Ghana that was doing his master's. But when they come here, they are not stable because they have to find their way. The guy, they were in a relationship, it was up and down. The guy traveled to America and the relationship got bad because he was focused on, thank you, ma'am. He was focused on his life. So you have to, as you said, you have to give yourself time, Okay, we are certain age, you want to go to school. When do you think, and put all those things in place for long distance relationship. Pastor Sheku, what would you say about long distance relationship? You want me to hold it?
Yes.
Okay. There you go.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, everybody.
You have to go back.
Huh?
You have to go
I have to
back.
go back.
Yeah, and
Thank you. I mean, everything has been said, really, but relationships are not meant for. When you look at from the creation of man, or the first type of relationship we had, God did not put Adam in Eden and Eve in Ghana. He made sure that they were both in the same place, and there's a reason why, that distance. I remember this is not when we started, but a few years ago, we decided to move to Africa, and I went first. And I was there for, I think, about how long? A year before you guys joined me. So it's not encouraged. I don't encourage anyone, unless if a situation like war or something that you cannot prevent makes it happen. But I don't even think job is good enough for you to have a separation. Because most time people say, well, I'm going to work to provide for the family. I don't even think that is good enough for you to separate, because you got to remember, especially if you have children as well, your absence is so has a big impact in the home.
yeah.
When mom is not around, you see the impact it has. When dad is not around, you see it's like a void. So no matter how well you're communicating on the phone, no matter how many video calls you're doing, it's not the same. There's a difference when you know that dad is going to be home at a certain time, or mom is going to be home at a certain. There's a difference when there's an energy that you cannot replace with anything. You cannot even replace it with anything, really. So I don't encourage long distance relationships, because it can break even the most strongest of relationship. It can break it. And, some relationships have gone through the test. And unfortunately, it doesn't, I don't see, I mean, someone say, well, if even people who are very busy,
Yeah.
they might travel for a while.
Yeah.
But, if you're going to go for like months, then I think that's the problem. But if you're only going maybe for like weeks, let's say you're in ministry and you have to travel, that's understandable. You're only going, it's a different thing, but not like your home is there, my home is there, and no, it's just okay. You went on a project which will last for a short while, and then you're going to come back home. But a situation where both of you have two different homes, already that could be a problem, because your homes are different, and you're supposed to have a home, not homes. You can have a holiday home, but I don't think it's ideal, to be honest. Yeah.
Okay.
And especially, but you can say also, what if you and the person have started a relationship? Maybe you're in Africa, and
That's
then
what Pastor William was saying.
and then the husband had an opportunity to travel.
Okay. They are married, you mean?
Yes.
Okay.
And the husband had to travel. You understand? I guess again, maybe the circumstances can change the dynamics. Who knows? But if you're living in a country like any of the countries in Africa, and economically you're struggling, and your children cannot get the best education, you cannot get the best of it. Because I have a friend, my one of my business partners in Africa, he traveled and and left his wife and several kids back home. But for them, I guess a relationship like that, I don't know, it's an achievement to the family, because they know that is gone. I mean, he went on a tourist visa, but they don't even know when he's coming back. They have no idea when he's coming back. Yeah. And in Africa, you have situations where girls who marry men that are abroad, and they don't even have visa to travel. Yeah. So I was speaking to somebody the other day. I said, so these two people got married because they knew each other when they were growing up. Yeah. So the guy promised, and they did the Muslims things. They did the wedding in the absence of the husband. Yeah. And I asked them, I said, so when is the husband coming back? Even Christians do it. I didn't even know. When is the husband? They don't have a clue. I said, so what happens to this? She said, the lady was explaining, some people have been here for 10 years, married, and their husband has not been around. No way. I said, why would you punish yourself? At least make sure he has documents to travel in and out. But, there's some extremes like that. Yeah. So I guess the idea is they're looking for status. They want the community to say, I am married. I said, well, you're a living widow. Let me just put it that way. But yeah, it's not advisable for sure. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah, Lady Henrietta want to say add up to it. Go on, ma'am. Sorry, let me say it's 7:06, so we have about maybe 10 more minutes and we are done, please. Thank you.
This is more of a question that I would like all of us to, because I hope this is okay to kind of usher us into a time of question and answer. This has been a concern of mine, because at least this movement, Coach Abby, is very strong in the US. There is this idea of, one of them, they call it open marriage. And also, we've seen women in very high position that are sending this propaganda out. There was this one video that I saw. I think the woman holds a very high position where she's like, my husband and I have been together for 20 years. He has his own house. I have my own house. And guess what? It works out for us. And as you know, social media blew up because of that. You had people that were like, that doesn't make sense, especially because they live in proximity. But I want us to discuss this, because I feel like it is a rapid movement that is happening, where we've twisted this idea of individuality and independence, and we've brought it into the marriage. And I myself, as a young person, like, how do I advise people and equip them? I mean, I can tell them that, hey, look at my life. And they'll be like, oh, okay. But I'm still hearing cases of people saying, this works out for us because it's open marriages. I also want to say, when they are looking up to these other people, by that time, these people have gone to like 2, 3, 4, 5 marriages, but they don't tell them, right? But there's this idea of it works out because you have your life, I have my life, you have your home, I have my home. And I'll find a video, woman of God, and send it to you. But I'd like to bring this up because we have people that are in marriages that are suffering. The solution that they have with that is maybe you can be in marriage as a status, but you should basically have your own life where you have your own house. And it's a strong movement here in the US. How do we combat that? How do we maintain God's original plan? Because at least here is very palatable. Like it's a style. Yeah, I would
Yeah.
say that it is
Wow.
a style. So us that are like in, even monogamous relationship and are choosing, now we've become the minority, because when you're in a marriage and you like do things, when you are in sync with each other, it's a bit strange. But here the marriages are breaking, or if they are there, there's this concept of like open marriage. And so
Open
how do we
marriage,
combat that? Yeah.
Thank you very much for that, Pastor William, and then I will come in as well. Go on, sir.
Okay, before I answer your question, I just want to add something to what Pastor Sheku was saying, right, about people coming in to the country. So, like, not having document and their wives are there, right? So, like, I also know of a couple, right, came to this country, stayed here for like 20 years, married for 20 years, and still no document. And for 20 years, it means the wife is still waiting for him. And guess what? The man is here satisfying himself and married to another woman with kids. Meanwhile, the lady back there living her life for 20 good years with no child, waiting for the husband. And I know of another, yes, this is an experience of a true story. And I know of other young guys who come here, who the ladies there in Ghana or in Africa, and they will be having wives here, and they will tell the girl that, hey, I'm single here, I'm not married. Yeah, I'm not married, but I love you and I want to come and marry you. And the ladies will be there waiting for them. So the scam is also not only in Africa, it's also back here. Men are here going out with ladies in Africa, promising them that they will marry them, but they won't, at the end of the day, they will not marry them, and they have wives here. Okay, so back to what Lady Hetty said about the open marriage. This is a context from Ghana. So those who have lived in Ghana between 60s to 90s can attest to it. The modern day, I think they are not used to it. So it used to be a marriage where the lady will be in her home, right? And do everything, wash everything, and cook food. And in the evening, let the children take the food to the husband, to the father. Then at night, the lady will go and sleep at the husband's place. That it used to be in Ghana. Those who the 90s and the 70s will understand the story. The 90s, 70s, and the 80s will understand the story. They will cook, do everything, and we call it inkunyane. It is in our local language, inkunyane. So they will put it in basket.
Is it because the man had few women, multiple wives, or even a single wife?
Sometimes one, sometimes multiple.
So he lives in another place, and
yes.
Okay.
Yes, lives in another house. So because they were not living in, they will live in their parents' house. Like sometimes, our parents. So I have a room in my parents' house. So my wife cannot come and live there with me. So my wife will be living in her parents' house. But in the evening, she will come and sleep with me. And I did a study on this, an extensive study on this. And what I realized that most of the times that relationship doesn't end well. The man is either cheating or the woman is cheating. Yeah. And like, so it was, for example, my hometown where I come from, it was very common. It was very common. 9 out of 10 marriages, you see them living in their house, the man living in their house, and the woman will go and sleep over. Yeah, and I don't know, like I'm going to sleep at my husband's house. That is how we call it. I mean, those Ghanaians who are old who understand it, they'll go and sleep there. So what I found out, and it's something that is coming here in our modern age, the open marriages. You have your home, I have my home, and I choose to come and sleep with you, or you choose to come and sleep with me. You realize that statistics will tell you those marriages don't work well. And the sad aspect is they won't tell you how many marriages they've gone through. Like Lady Hetty was saying, like I've been divorced for 4 times or 5 times because of this concept. But social media is so corrupt, quote unquote, is so corrupt that we pick and choose and they say the stories for us to believe. There was a story I was watching 3 days ago, and the guy was saying, this is how I control my wife. When she says something, I speak with my deep voice, with authority, and she keeps quiet. Guess what? As she was making the video, the wife called his name and said, why haven't you taken the bean out? Then he kept mute and said, oh, sorry, I was talking to myself. I'll pick it up. So the moral of the story is sometimes the way people paint things to us on social media is not the reality. It's not the reality. So they will say open marriage, stay here, stay there, stay here, stay here. Do the statistics. You see those marriages really don't work. It's like mini distant relationship. You are here, I'm here, and it's not working, but I'll come and paint it like it's working. 1 year, 2 years down the lane, the marriage is gone. Yeah, so I think it's something that's upcoming. People who want to be in
That's
relationship,
right.
upcoming people in marriage should know that that open marriage thing doesn't work.
Doesn't work. Thank you so much, Pastor William. The next question will be before I'm just saying it so that you prepare. The next question will be: what is the best way to rebuild trust after betrayal in any form of relationship? You feel betrayed. What is the way to rebuild trust, and also how important is forgiveness? I want to say that in this life, everything is a cycle. Whatever that has happened to before, it is possible that it comes back again. But it is how you take it, and the amount of knowledge and wisdom that you have accumulated will help you to deal with what is coming again. Okay. So now they say you should go out naked because it has happened before, you to know what knowledge have you acquired. I believe that this a relationship where you live there, your husband live there, I don't believe in that as well. And I believe that it brings even living together, how is it, and living apart, and is easy to cheat, is easy to do other things that are not right. Okay. And one thing that I would say is oh, Father, help me, Lord. Okay, I've lost, it's gone. But I want to say, as Pastor William said, it is not right. It is not right. And Lady Hetty, that's right. Because they are saying that being in relationship, staying apart is all right, how can we deal with these things? We want this generation, we want a relationship, marriage that will stay. Because when I came to America, I saw with a lot of divorce, even here in Europe, we want our marriage to stand. So what we can do is, all I would say, last time we said it, have mentors, have leaders that you can speak to. If your husband does something, you can speak to them. If your wife does something, you can speak to them about it. Don't keep it inside, because when you keep it inside, you get tired. As you said, there are people that are in marriage that are tired. So they will love the ideology of let's stay apart. It will work that way, but it wouldn't work that way. And so communication is important. That is all will help the relationship to grow. So please, the next question I will throw to Coach Abby: how to rebuild, way to rebuild trust after betrayal, and how important is forgiveness? Thank you.
The way to rebuild trust after in a relationship is go back again, communication. And I'll just run through 3 things quickly. And then I'll just also touch on what Pastor Williams and Lady Hetia was saying earlier. After find out what went wrong in that relationship, what mistakes each person's make, because oftentimes we always focus on one person. So both parties need in that relationship. And oftentimes a lot of people sweep things under carpet with gift, with pampering, with all the other stuff, but we don't really deal with the issue at hand. We don't really deal with the real issue. So write down what went wrong. Write down what mistakes did each person make, and what lessons did you learn in that relationship as well. And like you said as well, involve mentors, involve coaches, involve people, so that again, Bible talks in the multitude of counsel there is safety, and involve all those dynamics in those things. And I feel those things would, at the end of the day, I feel that trust would come back again. And it takes time, but gradually will come back again when we look and we deal with the main issue. But what often happens is people don't deal with the main issue, they just deal with the surface issue. And so the problem reoccurrence is like you not dealing with a small crack in your house, it will become a big hole. So you have to tackle it, deal with it, and make sure you solve that issue from the source. And that's how to deal with the trust. Regarding what we were talking about earlier on, we have to realize in today's age, like I said last time, don't live your life by social media. Like I said earlier on, I call Facebook fake book, because people would the video Pastor William shared, somebody shared it with me earlier on, just 20 minutes ago as well. There are all kinds of stuff, and today as well, because we're in the last days, even preachers, even Bible tells us, even the elect will be deceived. So that's why we need to be like a brave Christians, because today is now even pastors are trying to mix up all kinds of things. Some people are trying to mix up cultural marriage. Yeah, you can marry as many. The Bible says you can marry many wives. So many people are coming up with all kinds of stuff. Oh, didn't Abraham, didn't David? They won't tell you the end of those people, but they would, there are all kinds of people just on social media, just to tweet, or what would I say, just to go viral. And this is today's age. People are doing all kinds of stuff. Earlier today I was commenting on this man that went to wear a women's shoe, high heel shoe. People are doing all sorts to just go viral. But it's not about going viral. We need to, with Jesus, flog people out of the temple and says this house should be house of prayer. We need to be based on Bible, not what people are doing. And marriage is a lifetime. Somebody can say, yes, I've been married for 30 years. I've been married for 40 years. You don't know the dynamic inside that relationship. You don't know what those people are tolerating. We don't know. We know, just like when we look back at our parents, we saw what our parents went through. So we don't know the dynamic in those relationships. People can say they've been married 50 years, but you don't know the dynamic. God deals with us individually. And the most important of everything else is we want to make heaven. And it's an individual. It's not by your marriage you're going to make heaven. It's your your own salvation. Your salvation. So that's why the Bible says, work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. Know what works for you. We can act in front of people, but God sees our hearts. And our aim is to make it to heaven. And that's why I said to you, today as well, we get our priority wrong. A lot of us, I came to this understanding. A lot of us say, oh, I'm married because of my kids. No, you didn't marry because of your kids. You married because of God, because you want God. God needs to be the center, the middle, the center of any relationship, not because of love, but because of you love God. And also you think about your children, not about your happiness. I hear people say, oh, my happiness, my my joy, whatever makes me happy. That is not scripture. God's marriage purpose is for our seed. Genesis 1:28. Be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth. So God is thinking about our generation and also so your children, communication, and commitment. So that's what marriage is about. So whenever you put these three in the mix, you have the right perspective. God, like I said earlier, communication, keep communicating, then that brings change. And then your children, think about future generation. It's about God having legacy in this world, in this generation. Thank you.
That is extremely powerful. It is not about saying in the marriage, because of my children, that is why I'm here. It's because of God. Commitment, communication, and also you said the children, right?
Your children, because
Yes.
God wants godly seeds.
That's
God
right.
wants us to have godly seeds. So that's why I said, be fruitful and replenish the head. But it's not only those, it should be a mixture of all those things. Your commitment to God. So that's the most important. Ourselves, our commitment to God. God is glorified in this marriage. God is involved in this marriage. And also, if there is issues in marriage, communicate, talk till you guys agree. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Pastor William and then Lady Henrietta. Yes.
Okay.
Please, let's do 1 minute so that I don't want
Okay.
to
So
hold you guys for so long. Give me 1 second, please. And also, those that have questions, please wait. Sorry. Sorry, I have, please, also, if you have questions, you can put your questions down there. I will send it to them after and they will respond and I'll put it in the WhatsApp speaker. When I see your name, I will send it to you personally as well because time is fast spent. So please, thank you very much. Pastor William.
Okay, so rebuilding trust, right? One thing I want to say is at least take responsibility, own up. If the fault is from you, own up. Because if you don't own up, I mean, how can I trust you moving forward? So you have to own up and apologize to it before we can even talk about anything. Okay. The other one is allow time. They say time heals. You have to allow time. Don't push the person that, okay, because of this, that's why you are behaving this way. No, because each and everyone deals situations differently. So allow time to heal, right? And you also have to follow through with your promises. Okay, there's trust broken. Now you are trying to rebuild it. Okay, you are telling the person with a clarity communication that I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Okay, are you really following through what you said you were going to do, keeping to your work? So I think here is owning up and allowing time and following up through your promises that you made, following through.
Owning up, following up, and follow your promises that you said
And
you
allow
know that,
time.
and allow time to heal. So that is very powerful. Thank you so much, Pastor William. Lady Henrietta.
Yes, a lot has been said, so I won't say too much. I like the word owning up because it takes two people to tangle, so it takes the same two people for things to fall, which Abby mentioned. I like to share this story from somebody that I knew that he also has been married with the ex-wife for many years. She was a serial cheater. They got to a point where before the marriage broke for over a year, they were not touching each other. So that's how you know that the marriage was done. Once the marriage was over, the guy took it upon himself to seek help. And he said when he sought help, he realized even though what my wife did was wrong, he also doesn't understand how the wife was able to stay with him for that long. So here, it's not the man that cheats, it's the woman. But he owned up to the fact that once I sought help, I realized that I was incredibly difficult to deal with. His communication was very poor. He couldn't pick up the cues. And so his perspective and the lesson that he learned from that was that he needed to work on himself, which he did, and then remarried. And he's also later in his years. So he's in his 50s. He remarried and now he's happily remarried, right? Because he learned his lesson. And so owning up goes to both sides. We know in our society here that the man cheats is almost kind of granted and it's okay. If the woman cheats, we're like, this is a big deal. All hell broke loose. You're going to go, it's bad. But owning up to the fact that, yes, even especially if you know that that's not your partner, and I use the word cheat because that's the most common one. There are other factors. Owning up to the fact that, okay, maybe I slacked in this area of my life, maybe I focus here and there. Those are all part of owning up as an individual that contributed to the break. And then the other thing, so definitely don't look at one side, work on yourself, right? Even there's a scripture that says that you have to remove the plank in your eye. Like, how can you judge somebody else when you have a plank in your eye? I misquoted. You guys know what I'm talking about, hopefully. I try to summarize them. The other part is what my husband, Pastor William, said is time heals. There's something that a pastor said. He said he doesn't believe in time, that time heals. What you do with the time will determine if that heals. Whenever we talk about forgiveness, we think we are doing a favor to that person, but forgiveness is for us. It's for you to let go. So during that span of time, if you are able to forgive, understand that you played a part, then yes, rebuilding trust will be easier. I didn't say it'll happen, like it will just be easier. It's a phase, it is a process because both of you guys have to be accountable to each other. You have to even learn to talk to each other again in the right way. You have to be able to let go of things, when things are happening, you're like, okay, it's going to happen like the other time. Those are the things that you need to work out. But you have to be intentional with that. And that starts with forgiveness. Again, forgiveness is not for the other party that has offended you. It is for you to let go so God can do the work. So God can do the work in you. And rebuilding trust requires 100% God. Again, if you, as somebody like me, who comes from a background where trust is very difficult, it's very difficult to earn. Can you imagine if you do something in my life, right? But God being so good that He's worked on me for all these years that I'm able to, even over the years when people offend me, I'm like the Spirit will prompt me and I'm able to let go. I literally say, God, release me. That's I say out loud, I say, God, release me so that I don't feel anything, I don't hold anything back. And you might think it's magic, it actually works because I have a relationship with the Holy Spirit that I'm able to do these kind of things. And so it's possible, but you also have to be realistic. It is easier to break trust than to build. It is easier to break trust than to build. You have to be willing, because most of the times when, and Coach Abby, I think, can speak to this, when people are unwilling to forgive, it's because they are already made up their mind about their partners. That this is who you are, I knew it, but they don't want to say it because playing the victim is easier. You being the victim when everybody sympathizes with you is much easier than saying, you know what, this is how I felt about him, or this is how I felt about her for so many years. I never said anything because I was waiting for the excuse. Sometimes you see the men give the excuse. The women have excuses to just run out of the marriage. And when they run out and they realize that things were not as bad as I thought, that time is too late because it affects everybody. So rebuilding trust, you have to tell yourself, is this something that I want in the first place? Coach Abby can say it. Most of the time, these people don't want it, but they don't want to tell you and they are wasting their time. Do you want it? It requires effort. Are you okay that you're going to be left? Are you okay that there's going to be thoughts because the enemy will be fighting you? Are you ready to fight the enemy against those thoughts? These are things that you need to be honest with yourself. That's how when you seek help, it will come from a different place. It will come from a place of, I'm vulnerable, I need to seek help, and this is why I want to work things out. So that's a bit.
Thank you for that submission. Powerful. Time heals, but it is what you do with the time that will bring the healing. I believe that is very important, because if time heals and you are not doing anything, there will never be healing. And also, as you said, forgiveness is important. When you don't forgive, it's like drinking a poison and thinking you are killing the other person. You are killing your own self. Thank you so much. This is Speak Out with Pleasant Place Church in combined together with doing this program together. Thank you so much, guests, Coach Abby, Lady Henrietta, Pastor William, Pastor Sheku, And thank you to all the you know, our viewers, those that came in to listen to this, and those also on YouTube. It is on YouTube, so if you want to go and listen to it. I mean, we have a lot to say. I believe that time is fast spent, so we have to go, but it's been amazing. I mean, for those that are married and those that are also, you know, planning to enter into a new relationship, please, communication, identify, understand who you are, forgiveness, give yourself time, and let God be the center of all of it. Thank you so much. God bless you. And I will leave you here. Have a wonderful weekend. God bless you.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
having us.
Thank you.
God bless
Thank
you,
you
man
so
of
much.
God. God
Thank
bless you,
you.
Pastor Sheku.
Thank you. Thank you. You can hear.
Thank you.
Bless you.
Thank you. God bless. And please, if you have any questions, send it to me. I will send it to our guests and they will respond. Thank you very much. Thank you, Coach Abby. God bless you. Hear from
Thank
you,
you,
sir.
ma'am.
Thank you, sir.